Namaste to all. Good evening.
जी दिव्या भैया नमस्ते वेलकम जी भैया we may start. Welcome, over to you.
Yeah. Welcome to this evening session on universal human values. Bhaiya, is my voice breaking, audible, or is it okay?
It's perfectly okay भैया.
Okay. So, welcome to this evening session, which is a follow-up session of the Students Induction Program, SIP program. And participants or students who have undergone the students workshop or students who have explored the content as part of the induction program, or even students who have taken the credit course or minor degree course. For them, it is a follow-up session. And along with that, for the faculty also, who are taking sessions to the students, this is kind of a follow-up. And we conduct this program regularly on every Wednesday evening, 7:30 to 8:30. And this is Deepesh. I'm talking to you from Kerala right now. So we were discussing about the content of the other feelings in relationship in the last sessions. So if you remember the last session, we stopped at the feeling of love, right? So let me take that slide portion with the sum up portion. We go through that. Yeah, so this was the sum up slide which we have seen in on last Wednesday. So if you look at the sum up, we can see we have started with the feeling of affection. Affection is the feeling of being relative. And with the affection, I have the responsibility and commitment for mutual fulfillment in relationship. So if you have any reflections or any questions regarding any part of the content, you can raise your hand or unmute. And it's nice to listen to your exploration, which may be valuable for. So when I'm able to have this feeling of affection, mutual fulfillment in the relationship with the other, and I now take the responsibility and commitment for the mutual fulfillment in the relationship. So my relationship with others might be like many times feeling of opposition, sometimes feeling of relationship, right? Sometimes losing my relations, sometimes not talking, even with my very close relatives like my spouse or my children or my parents or my close friends. And you can imagine the kind of scenario that will be happening when I have a troublesome relationship with my spouse and children. And that is happening in the current scenarios. To the extent we can see that the spouses who are married for many years, at one point of time, they find it difficult to get along with the other. So this might also might happen. So affection starts from being the feeling of related to other, just like we started the feeling of affection for the mother towards the child, the infant baby. But then again, affection towards my fellow beings, my neighbors, my colleagues, my friends, all these things can be coming under affection. So if I expand, I have the potential to expand this feeling of affection to as many human beings as possible, and even cross the level of human beings and include the other units of nature. And when we say that, when you have the feeling of being related to all, that we say as love. That we have explored the content on excellence, where we put the proposal that the excellence is the understanding and living in harmony at all levels of being. Along with that, we effort for excellence and competing with the other is not the same thing. This also we have seen. And many times we are confused with what excellence is about. We often say that excellence is about skills. But then we need to be clear that excellence is not only about skills. Skill is only a very small part of what we call it as excellence. For example, someone might be a great musician, which we often quote the example. Someone might be a very good actor, but can we call him as an excellent human being? Is something to be reflected, isn't it? So excellence is about the understanding and living in harmony at all levels. We are not only talking about the skills, which means that a human being with a mastery over particular skills cannot be called as a human being who is in excellence. And reverence is the feeling of acceptance for excellence. So these two are connected. Reverence is the feeling I have when I see excellence in someone. We also looked upon the feeling of gratitude, where gratitude is the feeling for those who have made effort in terms of providing help in the process of my development, in the path of my excellence. So when I put effort for my excellence, which means for me or in understanding and living in harmony, I have the feeling of gratitude to all those who have made effort in providing help in my process of development. or process of excellence. And we also discussed about love. And I just mentioned while putting the point of affection. Love is the feeling of being related to all, and we call it as the complete value. And we also discussed about some of the preconditionings related to love, which need to be rightly evaluated. Some of the preconditions might be the lust, which is sensation based, or some of the preconditions should have boyfriend or a girlfriend by this age. So we quote the examples, and which is very important for the students. It is not only important for the students, but also for every human being to understand love and to understand what is not love, to understand the preconditions and the sensation-based thoughts about love. This is important. So if any of our co-explorers here have any sharings, thoughts, reflections on this content, we can spend some time on that. Mic has been provided to most of you. Any thoughts, reflections might be of help in exploration for others also. So, and many of this content might be very relatable to the student community. Okay, if you don't have any reflections, let's move to the next topic, which is about the next level, which is society. So let me open the slides. Right, just a minute. Okay. So this is session 11, society, institution, community, etc. So this you can consider as the third level being at the level of society, right? And then the nature and existence. Okay. Just a moment. So let's try to see some of the concerns here. So if you look at the students, we can see that so far I was protected by my parents. So till my school days, till my higher secondary time, I was very much protected by my parents. Sometimes they take me to my school, even pick me from school, right? But then going to a professional course, now I am facing the society, isn't it? So now I have to face the society all by myself. Will I be able to do this? This is one of my concerns as a student. Communal harmony in the society, is it possible at all? I'm not seeing it anywhere. So will there be a possibility of communal harmony in the society? Another concern could be like, how can the society be free of crimes, especially crimes against women? Many times we have taken it as part of our daily life right now, isn't it? So I can have the concern. Will that be possible to have a crime-free society? Another concern should be there is a vast gap between the rich and the poor in the society. Could there be a solution to this? Right. The economic divide between the haves and the have-nots is said to be increasing as years pass by, isn't it? Yet another concern could be, how do I make my country its neighbor countries attacking each other, countries attacking neighbors is very common to establish power in the region, political power, economic power, right? And for that, they invest heavily on weapons, nuclear weapons, weapons of mass destructions. Or another concern for innovation and research, which can be useful for the society at large. So I'm able to see that there are some problems existing in the society. And being an engineering student, I want to do some innovation and research, which can be of useful for society at large. For example, can we think of a solution for the air pollution which is happening in our country? Could there be some device or some array of devices which can be kept in my house or somewhere so that I can have fresh air inside my house, not contaminated, not polluted air to breathe, isn't it? Is it possible to recycle the carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide in the air and make it to do some products? Is it possible to recycle the enormous quantity of waste generated into something useful, maybe into electricity or something like that? Another concern could be like, how do I take my parental family and my family isn't it? May not be a for the students, but then some of you might think in that line also. Another concern, society has in health, market, governance, judiciary, media, public services, etc. So can I have a holistic understanding for all these systems and my role there in? So when we talk about systems in society, some of the important things could be education, health, market, the governance, the judiciary, the media, the public services, all these things. Can I have a holistic understanding? And can I have a role, my role therein? These are some of the, or very few of the concerns which I have related to society as a human being. So if you have any other concern, you can share. Do any of our participants wish to share any of your concerns with respect to the dimension of society? Yes. So now let us look at what is the present state. Many times we work with a limited vision. Me, my family, my job, my career, my enjoyment at workplace and in family, etc. The circle in which we are getting involved is many a times shortened into limited into me and my immediate connections only. My family, my job, my career, my enjoyment, etc. But the real life is not just this. When air pollution is creating a problem, it's going to create the problem for the whole community alike, isn't it? When the waste management has been interrupted for a few days, it is going to affect the whole community. If spreading in the society, it's going to affect which is happening. That is going to affect the whole community, not just me and my family or one or two families. In real life, we have to face the society in multiple ways, isn't it? So tomorrow morning when I go to purchase vegetables from the market, and if the lorry drivers or the truck drivers are on strike, then it is going to affect me in my fulfilling in my basic needs, isn't it? If the water supply is disrupted, because of a strike or something, the whole community is getting affected, isn't it? And when we do not have a holistic vision of society, we are faced with some disturbing issues. We try to fight against the problems. Many a times we start feeling lonely. So this is the problem when we don't have a holistic vision of society, right? Can there be a holistic vision of if how do I pick my role in it? Hence, I need to understand the common goal of human beings living in the society together. So when I live in a part of a society, all of us human beings living in the society together. This is interesting to look into, isn't it? So in the previous sessions, we discussed about harmony at the level of individual and family. We saw that the basic aspiration of every human being is continuity of happiness, isn't it? And we also saw that the trust is the foundation of every relationship. If trust is not ensured in the human-to-human relationship, then the other feelings may be troublesome. I may not be able to have the feeling of respect if I don't have the feeling of trust. I may not be able to have the feeling of affection, isn't it? So trust is the foundation of every relationship. The feeling of love is the foundation of undivided society. So when we say love, as we have seen in the sum of the feeling of being related to all, it includes the other units also, apart from the human beings. If we understand this, then we make effort for it individually, in the family, and in the larger society. To understand this, we need to take effort for that, isn't it? So in this session, we want to explore the goal of human being living in society so that desirable systems required for it may be developed and effectively implemented. And this will be explored in the subsequent UHV higher level courses also. So as mentioned, we will try to explore the core of a human society. Any reflections, any comments, you can feel free to unmute and throw some experiences or reflections if you have. It would be nice to interact with you also. So when you have the feeling of affection, within you, probably you may feel like, interacting with the other, right? So when we speak about the human goal, the first part is regarding the individual. The first part is about having the right understanding and a right feeling in every individual. So when I have the right understanding and right feeling within me, I have the happiness within me. Not able to have the completeness of the right understanding also, if I'm not, even if I'm not able to ensure the right feelings in continuity also, I can have happiness for most of my time if I'm taking effort to have the right understanding within me. And for that, I need to put effort, find time for exploration. We call it as self-exploration, isn't it? So the dialogue which we are having right now is supposed to initiate a dialogue within you, which you will continue as part of your exploration, right? So the second part is about the goal in the case of family. So we say at the level of family, we should have the prosperity in every family. And prosperity is what? The feeling or having the ability to produce more than what is required in terms of physical facility, isn't it? That's what we call it as prosperity. So prosperity in every family means, so each and every family members have the physical facility sufficiently in such a way that they have the feeling of prosperity. So it doesn't mean that every family is having some X amount of money or wealth. No, that's not what is being aimed at. It's about the feeling of prosperity in each member of it. For that, physical facility is also needed. Right understanding is also needed. The relationship is also needed, isn't it? So at the level of family, prosperity in every family. And at the level of society, fearlessness among the people living in the society. So if the individuals have got the feeling of trust, there will be fearlessness in the society, isn't it? Right. And at the level of nature and existence, coexistence is able to be realized, right? So each and every unit is in coexistence, in existence. No unit is superior or no unit is inferior. Every unit coexists in nature. So this is what we propose as the human goal. Any thoughts and reflections on this? Are you able to see the human goal? Right. So is this indeed our collective aspiration? Which means, is this our aspiration for all of us? For all of us. Aspiration in each individual with respect to all of us. My aspiration in connection to the entire existence. Not just even beyond my basic aspiration to live in happiness and prosperity and continuity. So can you see that it is a collective aspiration? You can reflect in the chat also. Are you able to see that this is a collective aspiration? Are all four of them required? Are all four desirable? Or can we leave something out in any of these things? So is it possible for us to leave the prosperity part or the fearlessness part? Think about it. If all four are achieved, let's assume that somehow all the four are achieved. In that case, would anything else be required? Anything more? Or is all these things sufficient in any case? This is yet another upon. The next question is, are we working for all four in the society? If I'm able to see that all the four are required, am I working for that? At least spending some time and effort for that. Or at least in my family, am I working? And think about it. So we put before you the proposal of the human goal, the collective human goal, which is the desired state. But where are we right now? Are we putting the effort for the human goal? Are we finding enough time for putting the effort in line with the human goal? Or our effort and time are like taken a wrong direction? So if you look at the current system, what is happening at the individual level? Right? So individual without right understanding and right feelings, we are driven by assumptions, wrong assumptions, isn't it? For example, money is everything is one of the important assumption which we are carrying and is having reflections in many levels. And we are, in fact, feeling the brunt of this assumption in multiple levels, in multiple ways. If it is a preconditioning, then we may not know that such an assumption which is wrong is happening, prevailing. We will take it to be true. We will assume, we might think that this is how it is, and this is how it has to be. There can be situations like if there is a wrong assumption, if 8 out of 10 people are having the same assumption, what will happen? Let's assume that the other two persons is having right understanding, but 8 people is having really acceptable, right? The 8 people will say that they are right. Their assumptions is right. These kind of situations will be reflected in our society, isn't it? So in the current situation, we can see that we are having unverified assumptions like money is everything. Is money everything? We can think about. Is this assumption leading to obsession for consumption? Obsession for consumption. Very interesting thing, right? Obsession for consumption. Consumption of what? Consumption of all the physical facilities, all kinds of physical facilities, all kinds of things which trigger sensation. Another obsession is because money is everything that is driving us. The assumption which is driving us is that money is everything. So we all have to earning more money. So we have to go for the obsession for profit. Isn't it? This obsession for consumption, if you look at people, how they consume things, how much ever they take in, still they have the feeling of deprivement, feeling of deprived, and then consume more. What does the advertisements do? Every 6 months or 1 year, the fashion in the dress changes. The fashion or the trend in the footwear changes. The fashion in your look changes. The fashion in the color of the hair changes. And the advertisement says that you are lacking something. And then you have to consume the updated thing to keep yourself updated. And to have that consumption spree, you need to have earn more. For that, you need to work harder. You can think whether you are caught up in such a loop or not. It is not leading to satisfaction. It is leading to deprived feeling. not the prosperity feeling. Exploit others. Obsession for profit. So there was a recent news about one of the railway station in South India. Are made in a particular place which is near to railway station. Snacks made out of oil, and when an incident happened in that parts of a rat or something, dead rat, and somebody issued a complaint. And then they have to do some inspection, and what they found was that the whole of these snacks and the food materials are prepared in a totally unhygienic environment, and they never clean the oil. They only top up the oil, and the color of the oil used for cooking will be like dark gray black color. So whenever the oil get burned up, they add more oil to the existing oil. So one can imagine the health hazard when someone is consuming item like that. And it's getting reflected in many diseases. So where is it an obsession for profit? And where does that obsession for profit come from? Is it coming from the assumption that money is everything? Any thoughts or reflections on this? The I want to enjoy everything, the best that is possible through my eyes, best possible through my ears, through my skin, right? All the sense organs, through my tongue. So even if I don't need, even if I need the, I'm not hungry, still for the taste part, I consume more. The result is most of the case of obesity and the obesity related diseases. This obsession for sensual pleasure. Probably you might be knowing that many people, when they are under stress, they eat more. They eat snacks more. Sometimes they might Sorry, my connection got lost. Okay. Yeah, I'm back. Let me. Okay. So this obsession for sensual pleasure is creating too many diseases level of body. It spring from again. It is spring from the assumption that money is everything. When I have more money, then I have feeling that I should have more pleasure. Otherwise, what is the purpose of money? Isn't it? So when I have that kind of thought, where does it lead to? It leads to all these kinds of obsessions. And it might any means, isn't it? Once one of the very famous medical college hospital, he was caught by the vigilance squad because one of the very large machine was getting damaged every now and then. Imaging machine, very expensive machine. So finally, what they found is that one of the doctor is actually who in charge is involved in damaging this machine so that a new machine can be bought and he can earn some commission out of that. So when a doctor is behaving like that, he is one of the probably the best minds, right? And one of the person who is earning a very respectable salary or income. Even then, he is doing something like that. And this is not just one or two incidents. Similar incidents is becoming very common in the society. So can you see that this accumulation by any means is very prevalent in the society? Right. At the level of society, we can see that there is domination or the exploitation of the have or the corporates or the government institutions exploiting the weaker sections of the society. And there is always the fear for one for the other. If you look at why do the politicians spend so much of money to retain power, do you think that it is for serving their fellow human beings, or is it for retaining the power to dominate over others, to exploit the others? And it leads to terrorism and wars, isn't it? And at the level of nature, there is mastery and exploitation of the nature. As a human being, I assume that I'm the master of the nature and the whole natural resources, the whole, the animals, plants, and all other units are for me to exploit or for my mastery. And where does that lead to? It leads to resource depletion, pollution. And pollution has become such a big problem for all of us, isn't it? That we have destroyed the basic thing, which is clean air. So imagine where we are taking our next generation to. Okay. So time is like 8:30 now. So if you have any quick reflections, you can put it across, or else we can stop it here for the time being, and we can continue in the next week, next Wednesday, 7:30. Okay. So thank you so much for joining. Let's meet next week.